Here is your Alaskan Wildlife Report Card. We feature, we feature Alaska because it's supposed to be pristine environment, as pristine as you can get in the continental United States. The vertical columns are the species of birds. The horizontal rows are location. And the cracked egg is symbolic of a complete collapse, a horrible failure of the species in a particular region. Some of these species you can see are on the precipice and the brink of extinction. This 2018, the sad thing about this 2018 report card is that you're not seeing what's happening now in 2019. 2019, the MERS and the shearwaters are taking a beating. Puffins are washing up on shore. Those are like little swimming penguin like little birds with large beaks. Really cute birds, kind of tame even to humans. And they do fly. So they fly and swim. The current murre decimation is occurring mostly on the southern shore. You can see the large circles represents thousands of just murres alone, and the smaller circles are again smaller numbers. But you're losing a great percentage of your population, and of course we all know the cause is a loss of krill, a loss of plankton, a loss of sea life, a loss of bait fish. The gray area is land, the red area is water on this map, and this is the variation from normal or average. You can see much of the narrows and shallow oceans near the Alaska-Siberian Gap are extremely warm, 7 degrees above average. That's a lot for an oceanic temperature. Chronicling 2019, this map does. Again, you see that almost 100% of the deaths this year on that southern coast is shearwaters. Nearly 100% of the birds dying in that big blue circle. There's actually more than one. Those are shearwaters. They're taking a beating this year. So whatever you saw on the report card for 2018, the grades just got worse. And this is global. People want to blame it on a local thing here and a local thing there, but this is a global phenomenon. We are witnessing an extinction happening right before our eyes. And when will it turn around? And extinctions can turn around. Will this one turn around? And people ask, well, why don't you put links to all of the list of dead animals? But the problem is if you can't read foreign languages, you're not going to understand a whole lot. But this lagoon, 12 tons. See, I can't read. So, and of course, we featured the collapse of the salmon population. They made it inland, they made it offshore and into the river systems where they died in the rivers before they spawned, which is tragic. And you're looking at a complete collapse of a species of salmon. More than one species, actually. And it affected all of the river systems and tributaries to the Yukon. And you think that the Yukon and British Columbia salmon deaths are isolated, are local, are related to something going on in the Pacific? Well, you need to call somebody in Norway that fishes salmon and talk to them about the collapse of their salmon industry. So what you're seeing is a global extinction taking place right before your eyes. And the lakes are taking a beating because they get hotter quicker than anything, and you're talking about millions of dollars of tilapia die literally overnight. And people will say, well, it's due to disease. And when people talk about things dying from disease, you need to understand disease doesn't kill everything overnight. Disease gets transferred from one animal to another. And you have sick, and you have sicker, and you have dying, and you have dead. Yeah, Vietnam, 1,000 tons of fish. 1,000 tons of fish dead in just one river system. I mean, that's almost the entire river system just died. And we're seeing this all over the world. And it's kind of a helpless feeling to report on these, because very little will happen for me reporting on this except becoming under extreme criticism and ridicule. But the canary in the coal mine, the canary's dead. And the fish in the swimming pool, the fish is dead. The 2019 Alaskan seabird die-off, every year they talk about how it just gets worse and worse and worse in some areas. And there are some areas where so much life has died off that now they're not finding a whole lot of dead birds because they're gone already. And so the southern shore is really where there are birds. But rivers drying up in the United States, rivers drying up in India, Vietnam, China, and yes, even the United Kingdom. You take the 3 billion birds off the planet, and that's a lot fewer birds. Now, these extinctions, happen when the food supply goes, and when air and water go. That's the cause of your extinctions. If it gets cold, it's easier to stay warm than it is to get cool when you're hot. Because you can always throw on more layers of clothes. You can always start a fire, but once you're hot and there's no power, and the water's contaminated and toxic and polluted, how do you stay cool when the ground temperature is 190 degrees right off your porch? And a lot of people want to talk about global warming when they're pushing carbon dioxide narrative, but they don't really want to cover exactly what's going on, because what's going on is an extinction that's not carbon dioxide related. The starfish strandings, again, on the United Kingdom, the shores, again, this scene played out where thousands of starfish wash up on shore. We attributed to the massive sudden death of starfish to tidal pools overheating that would cause sudden death and not a slow lingering demise in a population. It would literally kill a lot of starfish in a single day. But they found the reason. They say for all of these dying starfish, they curled themselves up into a little ball. That's what killed them. I swear to you, that's what they're feeding the public. Oh, from this curling up in a ball syndrome, that's what killed them. What would cause a starfish to curl up and hide itself and shade itself? Oh, extreme heat. Yes, and what would you do if the sun was extremely bright? Sooner or later, if you had no shade, you'd curl up in a little ball too, right before you die.